Okay, so it's recording. So, hello, Catherine and I were just talking about the National Wake Up Call today and kind of figuring out, like who our avatars are. I did a post tonight just talking about, kind of like being that busy mom who's juggling a lot of things and really want to pass on just sort of like self-love and making time for yourself to work out and eat clean and passing that on to our kids. Like that's kind of who I want to target, who my audience is. And so as I was thinking through the National Wake Up Call today and thinking about this call, um, and I'll be honest, like the less I talk Beachbody, 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 like the less I talk about buy this from me, the less salesy I am in my invites. I actually get people who come to me wanting to buy challenge packs or whatever it is I have going on, which is really ideal. And that's what the top people in Beachbody, if you look at most coaches' pages, especially like with the training that I'm not as good but have gone through, that I paid for, the Jesse Regan training, that's all about finding your avatar and playing around with audiences on your like page, but really getting good quality posts so that when you are ready to pay for advertising, you have good content that people are actually going to your page and seeking out. And so when I first started doing that training and realizing the less I talk about Beachbody and just more about my life and like what does it mean to work out? What does it mean to go from the person who swore 1,000 times over that I would never be a morning person to the person who got up at 5 o'clock this morning to make some broccoli so I had food to eat for lunch? Like, how do I go from that person that said, like, I will never be one of those home workout people. I would never be one of those people who gets up early in the morning, to someone who's very, like, I was a night owl and I'm very strict. Like I have an alarm on my phone telling me what time to go to bed because I am not a morning person. But like, how did I go from that to where I'm at now? And that's what I want to be sharing day in and day out. Or how do I make time to work out? Like, how am I on the beach this past weekend? I bring my cooler of food and everyone else is eating chips and I know I don't want to eat the chips. So I go to my cooler and I grab the carrots and I start dipping it in hummus and I eat that instead. And then everyone else in my family started coming over to my little beach picnic and wanted to eat all the delicious food that I had instead of the tuna fish sandwiches and chips that they had, and carrot cake that they had brought along. They wanted to eat like our blueberries and raspberries and all that stuff. But because I brought it, it was kind of like sending out that message. So I did a post about it, but that's just like lifestyle stuff that you don't have to be, hey, buy a challenge pack. But when instead you're like, man, I figured out how to be a morning person or I found out how to work out every single day for 30 days because I do it right there in my home, or I figured out a workout program that I can do with my kids because I don't have to put them in daycare. I don't have to leave them to go to the gym. My husband and I have like a friendly competition now to where like we look forward to the days that we get to work out together. And then it just makes me push harder. So like, sharing that stuff is what people get interested in, and that's why they're going to come to you and want to know, because there's something different about you. You've figured it out. Maybe you're just in the process of figuring it out. I know I am. And I tell people all the time too, like, I had a lot of issues that I needed to fix when I first started as a coach. I had blood sugar issues and chronic headaches. I was a Dr. Pepper addict. I ate chocolate donuts for breakfast. I barely ate anything. I lived in a complete brain fog all the time. I was irritable to my kids. I was yelling at them all the time. I didn't sleep good, so I was taking like Tylenol PM just to go to bed at night, but then I would caffeine up all day. I barely, probably only drank maybe 1 glass of water a day. And I wonder why, like, I felt so horrible that whole time. Like, I just never put 2 and 2 together about the value of actually being properly hydrated. And my skin, like I was spending like tons of money on laser treatments for like all these red dots around my mouth that was caused because of sugar. Like,
Oh, wow.
so I'm willing to shell out literally thousands of dollars just to keep up with my sugar habit. Like, that's ridiculous. But if you think about all the things that you want to change in your life, especially if you're so far gone, it's really hard and overwhelming. So what I did is I got really good at workouts, and that's where I started. So I was not a morning person. In my afternoons, it just wasn't happening. So I started getting up 30 minutes early. Then it was an hour. Now I literally get up 3 hours before I really have to be anywhere because I get so much more done in the morning. And I never thought I'd be that person. So I got really good at my morning workouts. And then my nutrition was, I struggled so bad with it. If you told me like you couldn't eat carbs, I mean, literally, I was the sugar junk food junkie, and now I get made fun of for eating clean all the time. But it was like I had to get good at one thing before I could move on to the next. And for me, I would get so much like anxiety when I would follow a meal program to a T, to where if I was cutting carbs, it freaked me out and I'd have to eat all the carbs. Like, it was just like this vicious cycle that I think everyone goes through, but trying to change everything all at once was too much. So I always tell people start with like one thing, get really good at it, and then kind of branch into others. So for me, I wasn't really good about personal development reading when I first started. And I love to read, but I was like, it's dumb. Like, who has time for that? And now it's like, well, I'll listen to the National Wake Up Call while I eat lunch, or I'd put in a CD about how to do invites while I was driving to and from work. Now, my commute's maybe 10 minutes, maybe. I hit 2 stoplights. So, but listening to that in bits and pieces, like eventually it adds up into like you've listened to the whole 3-part series on how to invite and like what your script should sound like. But like it was just making that decision, and that's one reason why I always recommend to anyone who's first getting started with anything, whether it be coaching or just a fitness journey, to read The Compound Effect, because it's those little small seemingly insignificant things that over time add up to big results. And that's what I have done in every aspect of my life, even just like getting good about going to bed on time or drinking water or whatever. Like it really was just doing small things. And even with I'm not good at meal prep. Like, I am envious of anybody who does these elaborate, like Catherine and her awesome cooking. I tend to eat the same things every day, and I will be honest, I totally cheated and had fries cook up all my chicken for my lunches because yesterday I just was not even feeling it. But it was far better to like cheat in those ways by having pre-cooked chicken or buying like a rotisserie chicken or whatever than it would be just to go through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. And I'll be honest, I used to do that all the time. I was always going to Chick-fil-A, and today, like if I ate it today, it's like the worst thing I've eaten in forever. Like, I would never, a year ago, I'd be like, there's no way I would ever think that about Chick-fil-A. It's so good. But now, like if I've had it with my kids or whatever, I'm like, it's so lost its hype. It's kind of sad, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of those little things is what I want to encourage everyone to sort of just be like, think less about having to make sales. Think less about trying to hit Success Club, which I know is hard. I mean, Beachbody puts a lot of emphasis on selling challenge packs and hitting Success Club, primarily because it's a tangible, measurable goal that ensures you're moving your business forward. So helping at least 3 people every single month is a tangible way to know that you're continually growing your business. But if that's all that you focused on and that's all that you stress out, and believe me, I've spent a lot of time being stressed about, I gotta hit Success Club. Oh my gosh. I have missed it twice in the 2 years that, like next week is my 2-year mark. I've missed it twice since I started coaching. And both times, the first time especially, was like horrifically just, I was defeated. I probably cried. Well, I cried all night into the next day. And then I just decided, listen, this, I'm not doing this again. Like, I can let this defeat me. I mean, same with anything. You mess up on your meal, you miss a workout, you can let it defeat you, or you can pick yourself up and go better and be better each and every single day. And so that's what I decided to do. And then I missed it again this past October, which was, it was over a credit card issue in the 11th hour. And I was like, this is so dumb. But I want to get to the point where we're enjoying, we're not stressed out about hitting Success Club or like frantically looking for people. I want everyone to have the joy of having people message you and say, I'm ready to buy whatever it is that you have. Like, here's my money, just take it. Like, everyone should have that. But you can't get there without, you're not really selling. I mean, you could do it that way and you won't get anywhere. But if you have, I mean, it's kind of like when you find a good deal on Amazon or a product at Target and you want everyone to try it, like, people are going to take your word for it because they trust you and they can see, you know, that you've done something. It's the same with health and fitness, but we get so wrapped up in the sale and hitting these tangible goals that it's like, oh my God, I got to post every 5 seconds about my workout. Like, I just want us all to sort of just be focused on, especially going into the holidays, like, how is this holiday season different for you than it was last year? Or maybe you can think back to before you got into Beachbody, like, what were your reservations? What held you back? What were you struggling with? Like, write about those things, because I guarantee you there are a ton of people that are watching you who are going to relate to what you have to say. And so that's what I want to just focus on. And I know it's hard and we all want to hit Success Club. I know I do. But I have found that I have far better results when I do kind of not a canned invite. I mean, you still do have to invite people because not everyone is going to see your call to action posts on Sunday or whenever you post them. Not everybody's going to see that in their feed. So you do still have to send out invites. I tend to do stuff, I mean, I do those too, but I have found that works a little bit better if it's just kind of organic in the conversations that I have. So today I sent out all these messages about, hey, how was your Thanksgiving? I cannot believe there are only 35 days left in this year. Like, how is that even possible? So then you strike up a conversation like, either the person overate and they feel terrible. And oh, by the way, because you had this conversation, they're replying back to you, your posts are going to show up in their feed now. So they're going to know what you have going on. But you can have this organic conversation about how your holiday was different, or how you started a new challenge group this week, or whatever. And it makes it easier, I think, to introduce just what you have going on in life. It doesn't have to be like, hey, buy my challenge pack. Hey, I know you want to buy a challenge pack. Do you want a challenge pack? But if you're just talking about, and I have found it works so much better for me, if you're just having a conversation, getting to know people, I ask a ton of questions. What are your struggles? What are your goals? Like, in finding ways I can relate to them, or even like somebody on the team. So like, I haven't lost a significant amount of weight, but there are other people on our team who have lost well over 100 pounds. Well, how did they do that? I'm going to share how they did that. And if you don't know a story or how you can relate, like, message me and I will help you. I mean, you'll get it. It takes time to build like corporate knowledge and all this stuff, but don't ever feel like you're bothering me or anything by asking these questions, because that's how you learn how do you respond and kind of figure out what your niche is, you know, as far as communicating with others. So I just want to like encourage everyone to like take off the sales blinders or whatever and just be open to the idea. And I think doing the coaches only challenge for those of us who are doing it is really going to help with that, because our challenges each day are going to be like these organic ways to share our story that will capture the attention of other people. And you do have to post your journey, otherwise no one knows. I mean, there are lots of coaches on the team who are coaches who want to work the business but never say a word about it on social media. And so when people hear a commercial about Beachbody On Demand, this is what you want. When people hear that commercial, you don't want them to just go sign up. You want them to message you and say, hey, I'm going to sign up for this. If I do, is there a way you can get credit for it? I've had 3 people this month that was the exact way things went down. Yes, by the way, I will take that commission. Like, but if you don't say anything about it, people don't know that that's what you're doing. What am I missing, Catherine?
I don't know. I think you've covered quite a bit.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up just a ton of time, but I do want everyone to listen to the National Wake Up Call because it was really good and gets your mind sort of thinking about who are you? Like, who is your audience? Who are you targeting? I mean, she gave examples of like, college students who are like not about the life of eating ramen noodles and being poor or whatever. New brides, like that doesn't really fit in any one of our audiences, but I think collectively all of us who are building on our team right now we all have full-time jobs. We're moms who are busy trying to make it happen, and we have a passion for helping others. So we need to figure out what our niche is and what's going to make us stand out from other companies. So I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, anyone can sell you a drink that's supposed to make you thin and be done with you. Like, it takes a very special, dedicated person to coach someone through all the challenges of life, because you end up being a little bit of a therapist. You're helping them change. People do not gain a lot of weight without having, issues that they can't overcome, or they use food as a supplement. I mean, same with like people who are really thin. I mean, obviously something is missing there. So that's what we want to bridge that gap, so that people are feeling loved and part of a team and have passion and commitment and, that sort of stuff that maybe they're missing out on that they seek in food. I know for me, when I started tapping into like my passions and finding things that I loved more than my obsession with food, like it changed everything for me. And I know people will look at me and be like, you're ridiculous. Like, it's kind of like if you watch This Is Us, and then you have when Kate goes to the like the Eating Anonymous or whatever it is groups, and like the skinny girls in there, and she's like, oh my god, I just ate all this stuff. I know that people will look at me like that, but I can promise you that on a mental level I can relate with every food issue that people have that they can't give up. Like, I have been there. And so I just want to sort of just be a light to people who otherwise are living in darkness. And I think we have an awesome opportunity to share that gift with so many people. I mean, if you really think about if someone didn't invite you to this opportunity, like what all have you gained that you would otherwise have missed out on? Maybe do a post about that too. Like, had I not said yes, this is where I would be. Like, compare your old self to your new self. Hi, Stacy.
Well, the defender should have never said I got it.
Are you driving, Stacy?
I am. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Oh,
I can hear
I'm
some.
trying to mute it.
Oh, okay.
But hi!
Hi.
Are you guys almost done?
Yeah, I recorded it, so I'll post the recording here shortly.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to pop on and say, what's up?
What's up?
Okay, carry on.
All right. I don't even know what I was saying, but it's probably not important. But anyway, just maybe think about where you would be if someone, I think probably in most anyone's cases who actually listened to this, if I hadn't asked you to be part of this, where would your life be? And maybe do a post about that too. Just talk about your journey in your life and what you have going on. It doesn't have to be all Beachbody all the time. And if you need some ideas on coaches, there's a few that are kind of like my sort of like people I identify with. But you can find kind of your own tribe of people. I really like Janelle Summers. She has really good posts. That's Shalene Johnson's sister. I really like her post. She's like, I mean, she lives kind of like the beach outdoor life, and she's into weightlifting, and like her style is kind of even my style. And if I did this exercise when I did that training with Jesse Regan, where you actually like name your avatar, like give her a name. What does she look like? And like Google images of what you think your person, your ideal prospect, your ideal coach, what do they look like? And it sounds so dumb, and I thought it was really ridiculous. But when I started doing it, and this person became like all of this stuff within me just started pouring out, where I was like, and she has a blended family, and maybe her child has ADHD, and she deals with mental health issues, and like I just started pouring out and like figuring out who I am, which was kind of like an aha moment for me. So it was a really fun exercise. I'll see if I can find any videos that would be good to sort of share, but yeah, once you start naming your person and Googling images about what they look like, because my person like wears black a lot. She really, really wants to be fashion forward, but she's a total idiot about fashion, like has no clue whatsoever. And so, and she ends up being really just basic. She's sporty but classy, like old classic, like that's me, that's my person. But like I never really thought about it until I started writing it all down. And even just like figuring out that I'm a shenanigan enthusiast. Like I've had people tell me, like, yeah, if there's an inside joke or a shenanigan to be had, it's probably somehow associated to you. But so like now that's just part of me, like hence the shirt I had Stacy make me. But just kind of figuring out who you are and who you're trying to target, and then write your post to that person, and guarantee you will find your tribe of people in the process. But it takes a while. Like I look back even a year ago at my posts on Facebook, and they were nothing. Like I don't even think I had anything usable at all from a year ago. So my post that ended up generating a lot of likes and things on my was probably only within maybe the last 6 months. So if you get discouraged because you only have 1 or 2 likes on a post and nobody's commenting and nobody's seeing your stuff, just realize it takes a long time to build that up. But if you, and I've gotten to the point, and I didn't realize this, but when you're putting out good content that people want to come and see, like, oh, what is she doing, and what's going on in her life? Like I have people who literally tell me that they go to my page every single day to see what I have going on, which blows my mind. But it also happens when it's like not necessarily all Beachbody all the time. So anyway, that was a ton of rambling. I hope anyone watching is still watching. Anyway, do you guys have questions for me?
No.
No, it's all good. Like, I feel like I'm getting lots of good feedback, but it's just that. And I keep getting, oh, I can't afford it. It's too much. And I'm like, all right, well, bye. I'm just so bad with follow up. And, like, I don't know. I'm kind of the type of person, like, either you want it or you don't. So that's where I struggle. Just making people, like, I feel like when they're ready, and if they're not, I don't have that personality where I want to force them to be ready. Like, I don't know what to tell you then. Like, if you're miserable, then do something about it, and if not, then stop whining to me. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Of course I don't say that, but that's what I feel like. That's the personality I have.
And I will tell you that that is a very good quality to have as a coach. Like, certainly you need to have kind of the balance where you follow up with people, but realizing that, yes, a challenge pack is your best deal, but anyone who has a money objection, it's usually not actually about the price, because people have spent far more on craft work than what we have to offer. So either they're not seeing the value of what we have to offer and you need to help them see it. So usually, and this is a really great point that Corey brought up, is I will ask straight up, so what is your budget? And then I will give options that would fit within it. So maybe they can only afford the $60 DVDs. I mean, realizing that $160 to get all of it is a way better deal, but maybe they only have $60 to buy it. I mean, I've had people that had a whole yard sale or sold a TV or a piece of furniture to buy their challenge pack because, yes, they saw the value and, yes, they wanted it bad enough. But I also get a lot of people who just want the quick fix and don't want to spend $160 on actually eating clean and working out. They would spend $160 on fat burner pills and carb blockers, whatever those are.
I'm laughing because I'm like, yep, I know, I've been there.
It kills me.
Yeah.
I mean, same with like the whole keto. I don't know if you guys have people who are into the prove it keto stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But their posts kill me. Like, oh, I just ate this cheeseburger. Thank goodness I have this keto thing to put me in ketosis. Like, no, you are not in ketosis. You are peeing ketones, but you are not in ketosis. The only way to get that way is if you have a high fat, moderate protein, low carb diet.
Yeah.
And I have people that tell me, because keto is a thing now, I have people that tell me that they're doing keto. And when I ask them for their macro ratio, they're like, what's that? You aren't doing keto. You would know your macro ratio if you were actually keto. And then they tell me like what they're eating. I'm like, no, that is not a keto diet.
That's funny. So I was doing keto a month prior to starting Beachbody, which it actually was good, but I know how to do my macros. So, and I know how to do it right. But my energy was low. So for me, it didn't work because I need more carbs.
For most people, that's the case. There's only Corey.
Well, it's hard to sustain the workouts if you don't have a little more energy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work for everybody. But I was on a keto group, and so I've actually, like, I posted my before and afters, and I thought they were going to kill me, but I got some good feedback and ended up adding a bunch of people to my fitness group, and I'm just having them watch, and nobody said anything negative, but I know, like, you can be on keto and still have a shake, like, as long as you're under your 20 grams of carbs. So I'm like, don't come to me and tell me you can't do keto and still have a shake, because I'll tell you how.
Yeah, well, and like Regan Haggerty does, I don't know if she still does, and her sister both do keto, as does Jessie Sullivan, and they all do Shakeology. But even like Yvette on our team, when she got first diagnosed as being diabetic, her doctor put her on a 20-gram carb a day diet or whatever, and I kept telling her, like, yo, like, I'm telling you, Shakeology is going to make a world of difference for you and your diabetes. Like, I would be willing to bet you could get off your medication. And so when she posted the other day, like, thank you, Shakeology, I got off my diabetic medication, I was like, hey, man, I tried to tell you.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, like, I'm kind of it isn't a one size fits all for everyone. And so like that's when I start trying to just ask a bunch of questions about like what are you eating? Because there's a lot of people, I mean, I have a lot of my audience lives in Texas where I grew up, and people literally have no idea what clean eating means.
Yeah.
Like, no idea. Like, what does that mean?
So what do you do for the nutrition part of it? Do you just get them first to like get Shakeology, or do you recommend the fixate or the portion control, or like, because that's where I came from. That's my background of like people are asking me, okay, nutrition. They don't want to work out at home. They're not buying it yet. I'm like, okay, well, you still need to eat better because working out is 80% of it, or is only 20%. You have to fix the other 80%.
Right.
So I believe in, and I was a macro coach, so I love the containers because it's like macros for dummies. It really is. Like they don't even know they're counting their macros.
Yes.
And so I love that, but I don't know. So do you get them on the shake, or is that like can we just focus on the nutrition? Is there a nutrition packet? Like what? I don't know.
So it kind of just depends on where the person is themselves. Like if nutrition is what they struggle with, maybe I do focus more on just like, hey, let's get your macros. Let's do the easy intro to clean eating, intro to balancing your macros, because that's really where weight loss is. And oh, by the way, you're probably under eating. Am I right, Catherine? So let's fix that part. And oh, by the way, if you want something that bridges the gap in your nutrition, Shakeology is where it's at. And I will say, honestly, to people, like, I thought it was super expensive. Like, when I first started on it, before I became a coach, like, I did a thing with Jenny Laurie and this girl I went to high school with. Like, it was like I was on it for 30 days. I did the 3-day refresh. I was in bed by day 2 and couldn't get out because my blood sugar was all out of whack. But I loved Shakeology. So I went to GNC and I was going to find a cheap replacement that was just as good, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Like I could barely choke down 3 of the things that I bought that were $50 each. I never even finished them. So I spent $150 on garbage when I should have stuck with Shakeology. But I mean, so I get it, the price objection, but for me, like the health benefits are so much so. And so I just kind of walk through that whole, like my personal process with that, and like how Shakeology fixed, like I had hypoglycemic episodes every day for 3 years. Every day. Like I'd be laid out in the shower, thought I was going to die. I couldn't move. Half my body had gone numb. I lost my hearing. I had tunnel vision. Like my husband had to bring me orange juice in the shower because I couldn't get up. So like for 3 years, I had this every day. And when I started on Shakeology, when I started coaching, I haven't had a single episode since. Like it totally regulated all of my blood sugar issues. I don't have chronic headaches. Like a lot of that could be because I only drink like 1 glass of water a day. But I don't crave sweets like I used to. So like for me, it's balanced my mood. Like I get seasonal effectiveness disorder really bad this time of year, and it's not nearly as bad for me as it was in the past, just because I was, missing those links. And certainly like during my time of the month, like I'm so much better off on Shakeology, like cramping wise and mood swings and irritability and all of that stuff is so lessened with Shakeology. So to me, at $4 a serving, like I got rid of all the extra vitamins and supplements that I was taking to try to feel better. Like I don't need all that anymore. And so I just kind of walk through that process. And if somebody wants to try it 30 days, they can. And even if they drink the whole bag, they can get their money back if they don't see an improvement after 30 days. And I always tell people, like, if the auto ship freaks you out, it's $2 to ship versus like 15 or something with the auto ship. So I will personally send you the link to cancel and make sure that you get your money back if that's the case. If you don't notice the difference. Most people, like, maybe they don't keep the auto ship because they can't afford it. But very rarely do they return it. Everybody's like, oh, I liked it, I noticed the difference, but my NFL package is more important.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll keep sticking with it. I'm just not a salesperson by nature, and I feel like I'm trying to push something
Well,
that
I think, and the whole part of the earlier part of what I was saying was kind of geared more towards feeling less salesy by just sharing your own journey and like where you're at. I think, Stacey, you do a really good job about like just throwing it out there and being honest and telling people like, this is who I am, this is what I struggle with, because people will relate to that. But I think focusing less on making a sale will make a big difference, because then people will come to you as someone who helps them. I mean, if you guys need resources, like maybe someone's issue is that they struggle with nutrition, but maybe they can't afford it. Like, let me know. I mean, we have a bunch of resources on our page, as well as the big team page, where you could send them a 5-day clean eating guide recipe. Like, I have some crockpot stuff, so I usually will tell people like, oh, I totally understand, like, let me send you some resources at least to help you out, because then you're coming from a place of like helping people wherever they're at and not just about making a sale.
right.
So if you guys can't find or need those resources, let me know, because I have a bunch of different ones. I have like I don't know. I have a few that I send out, some crockpot ones, and even in Arete, there's like free challenge groups that you can do with clean eating guides that you could just send to people, like mason jar recipes or whatever. I mean, I think there's a couple of holiday crockpot ones that are in there too that like would be appropriate to send now if you run into someone who's like, they're really struggling, they don't know what clean eating is, and they want some recipes. Like, here, let me help you out.
And I've sent some out that you've given to me before, Susan, for
Yeah,
people who wanted nutrition and didn't want to sign up or anything.
and those people, like, I'll check in with them. Yeah, I'm kind of like, well, if you're not ready, I'm not gonna like drag you along, because my personality is like, I struggle with that, because I'm like, I want to help everyone. Like, I know the answer and you need this. Like, I really struggle with bye Felicia, but I'll still follow up with people and just kind of meet them where they're at. Like, I have a few people who are like, they are big. Like, one lady, she wears Glad Warrior fitness tanks all over. She asked for them. She will wear them all over. She posts stuff on my timeline. She is all about posting in my like free group that's just random for accountability, but she will not get involved with Beachbody whatsoever. But she's a big fan. So maybe she's not my client, but she's a fantastic referral source. She referred like her son and like 4 other people to me that I'm still building relationships with now. So people may not be, they may not be your coach, they may not be your challenger, but they could be a fantastic resource for you if you maintain, good relationships with them. I think like I listened to a thing or something where it was like, those are the 3 categories of people. And when you start looking at them as such, like, to me, it was mind blowing, because then I started realizing, well, maybe this person isn't into actually getting involved, but I'm going to ask them, hey, do you know someone? I mean, my last probably 4 clients were people who were referrals from someone else. So that's fun. All right. Well, I won't take up any more of your time.
No, thank you so much.
If
It's
you
just
like-
it's a perspective switch.
And I mean, like, I hope that you'll listen to at least the first part of the call once I post the recording, just kind of talking about like the national wake up call today and being focused more about finding like your peeps. Like maybe Stacy, your peeps are like people who were surrogates that, you know, lost their snatch or whatever and they want that. So like, but maybe that's who you're targeting. Like maybe that's your story and you're sharing that journey of how you went from that to this. And I mean, maybe you even share about how you've dabbled in, you're like this, you know, maybe you're not like I'm a fitness fanatic, but I've like grown into one to where I'm teaching classes and doing this stuff. Like on the National Wake Up Call, she was talking about that her kind of tribe is built around people who are fitness professionals that got burnt out by teaching like 1,001 classes every week and not being paid for what they're worth in doing that. And so how do I make Beachbody like meet that need of like, well, I love fitness and I want to help people, but I don't want to spend 1,001 hours a week working on it, you know? And so it was a really good call, the National Wake Up Call, as far as just kind of figuring out like who you are, who your audience is.
All right, that's good. That was, what call is that?
It was today's National Wake Up Call.
Okay.
If you go into your Coach Online office under not breaking news, maybe it is under news, all of the National Wake Up Calls. I have it saved as a podcast.
Okay.
And so I just listen to the podcast because then you can pause it and fast forward it rather than dialing in the phone line.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll put that on my homework.
Woohoo! All right. Well, bye, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, Catherine.
Thanks, you too.